Yeah, should YouTube be counted as TV? I think if we were here 5 years ago, we'd probably be talking about the horrible and incorrect question around the death of TV, the debate around the death of TV. And what's quite funny is that's sort of gone away now, and it's almost been replaced by what is TV. And what is fit for TV is a term that we associate with the likes of Barb. TV-like content is another phrase that's kind of widely used in the industry. And the reason for that whole sort of debate is the prevalence of YouTube on our screens. And the question is YouTube on a TV, on a connected TV? Is that TV? Or is it more around professionally produced content that sits on YouTube that could be on the TV or could be across a multitude of other devices like tablets and mobiles, etc. And it's a difficult one to answer because everyone has a very different opinion. I'm going to sort of paraphrase Lindsay Clay because I think she kind of summed it up quite nicely in one of her various exchanges with many people on LinkedIn that we've seen in the last few months. There is TV on YouTube and there is not TV on YouTube. YouTube is not TV, but there is TV on YouTube. And I think that's the whole point. YouTube is a huge platform, and there's a huge amount of content on YouTube. I think there's something like 14.9 billion videos that sit on YouTube. And a lot of that content is what we would call TV, but a lot of that content is also not what we would call TV. How do we decide what content is fit for TV, what content on YouTube is TV, what content isn't? I think there's different iterations of that because people would say it's only sort of broadcast quality content that is TV, and I totally agree with that obviously is TV. I mean, you've seen lately ITV, the likes of ITV have really lent into YouTube as a channel. Channel 4 had done previously and Sky previous to that. So you've got a lot of what we would say broadcast quality TV that sits with the broadcasters. But there's also a lot of premium publishers and other sort of premium quality content that sits on YouTube that you would also, I would personally describe as being fit for TV. You also have a huge amount of content. If you take the gaming sector as an example, it's where MrBeast originated from, and he's now made the transition to Amazon and to mainstream TV because he's got 400 million subscribers and a hugely valuable audience. But there is a huge amount of, say, gaming influencers that produce quite professionally produced content that is also very, very valuable to audiences and also very, very valuable to brands as a result. And I think if you ignore that type of content, then you really are in danger of kind of alienating or missing out on a key part of the audience. Yeah, certainly in terms of how much viewing takes place via YouTube on the big TV, that number has sort of grown at a pace year after year. I think a few years ago it was sort of maybe 20% of YouTube inventory was on the big TV. If you look at the broadcasters, I think they're in the region of 85 and sort of 15 on tablets and desktop. And while we've not seen YouTube get to the point of the broadcast level, I think it's sort of north of 50% now, and YouTube is an increasing part of the AV agency team's plans. Hence the reason why we're having this sort of debate, because as I say, YouTube is TV. It's just not all of content on YouTube. And we, as a business at Silverpush, we're trying to help agencies identify what that content is, because there's huge value in that audience on that platform. And as I say, it's an integral part of the AV planning system.